Hello everyone, my name is Birdie and I am your friendly neighborhood forest witch, and in today's video we are going to be making 3 simple crafts that represent Lughnasadh, also known as Lammas. So since Lughnasadh is a fire festival and represents the harvest, I definitely wanted to incorporate those 2 things into these crafts. So we are going to be making corn husk wreaths, sunflower sachets, and Lughnasadh themed fire starters. So without further ado, let's get to crafting. First, we're going to start off with the fire starters, and I picked up some of these beeswax pellets from Amazon, and I'm using beeswax because it's healthier than other waxes, especially if you're going to be using these fire starters in your house fireplace. Then you definitely want it to be safe. So I got some of these that we'll be using, and it says that the ratios are 3-to-1 or 4-to-1. Mix the beeswax pellets with vegetable oil. So we want the wax to be softer, so we're going to be doing the 3-to-1. So I got my vegetable oil there, and you're also going to want to use some tools that you don't use for food. So I picked up this specifically for these fire starters. I also have some of these cupcake liners that I'm going to be using. Now, if you use cupcake liners, you're going to want to make sure they're fully paper, that there's no metallic or plastic on them, because those are going to cause a smoke that isn't healthy. So I got those. Now, if you wanted to use something recyclable instead of these cupcake liners, you can also use a cardboard egg crate, and you would just fill your wax in here. Then I also picked up this jar. Now you can melt the wax in the microwave, but I'm going to be doing a double boiler system. So I picked up this jar from Dollar Tree so we can use that. And now to adorn our fire starters, I picked out some items that are in abundance during Lughnasadh. So I have some wheat tops here, some calendula, some dehydrated apples, some acorn caps, and for the scent I'm going with sandalwood because it's one of Lughnassadh's correspondences. And sandalwood clears the mind and promotes calm and relieves anxiety and tension. So I thought that would be a perfect scent for these fire starters. So I went ahead and put my cupcake liners in my cupcake pan, and each cup is about 1/3. So since I'm making 6 of these fire starters, we're going to need about 2 cups of wax and 2/3 cup of oil. So let's go ahead and add those to our jar. Now we're going to place our jar in a pot of water and turn the heat to medium. And don't walk away from your wax because it will burn. So make sure you consistently stir it. I have a butter knife here that I use specifically for wax. It's not used for food. So this is what I'll be stirring with. Now that the beeswax and vegetable oil have infused, we're going to turn off the heat. And be cautious, definitely use mitts when you're doing this. I've been handling this jar and it's not really hot. So you're gonna wanna kind of work fast. So while it's in this liquid state, before we put it in the paper liners, we're gonna wanna add our scent, which is the sandalwood. So let's go ahead and do that. and then stir it up and we can pour it in our cupcake liners. So I have the wax all poured. Now we're gonna want it to harden just a little bit, and then we can start putting our adornments on it. So when the top of your wax starts getting these white rings, this is about the time where you'll start to want to add your adornments. So let's go ahead and add some in here. And this is how the fire starters turned out. I think they are so pretty and they smell delicious. They're gonna make great gifts, or you can use them for yourself on the night of Lughnasadh or the night that you celebrate Lughnasadh. But I think these turned out great. Now, I would have showed you what they look like in a fireplace, but my fireplace is gas, so unfortunately I can't do that. But they're definitely going to be a beautiful fire starter to celebrate the Sabbath. Next, we're going to be making the corn husk wreath. So I picked up this wreath form from Dollar Tree, and I made sure to get the natural toned one so it would match our corn husks. You'll also need some sort of twine, ribbon, or wire to hang your wreath up. Some sort of adhesive. So today I'll be using a glue gun. And then you can either dry your own corn husks, or you can actually pick these up at your local grocery store. And these corn husks are already husked for us and are used for tamales, but they are going to be great for this craft because they're already in single pieces. So let's go ahead and start putting our wreath together. So we want to work with the outer wire first, and we want this curve to go towards us. So we're going to flip this over and thread it through the top wire, making sure that the curve is towards the table. And then you are going to bend a little lip over and glue that. So then when you turn it right side up, it still has that curvature, and it's going to make a beautiful shape of either a sun or a sunflower, which is also a representation of Lughnasadh as well. So not only are we using corn husks, which corn is harvested during the Lughnasadh season, but then the shape of our wreath is also going to be a representation as well. So let me go ahead and finish this. I'm just going to go around the top wire, the second, the third, and then the fourth, and then we can do a final reveal. And this is how the wreath turned out. I think it is so pretty. It's simple, so if you wanted to add some flowers or some stalks of wheat, you could definitely do that. I think that would be pretty, but I kind of like it simplistic like this. Now, it did take a little bit to do since, you know, it is tedious. You're doing 4 rows. So put on your favorite podcast, your favorite music, or even your favorite YouTube, and just sit down, relax, and you can put this wreath together. And last but not least, we're going to be making some sunflower sachets. So for that, you're going to need some sort of scrap fabric, or you can also use some felt. And normally, if time would permit, I would sew this. But since this is for a video, I'm going to be using a hot glue gun. You can also use fabric glue if you don't know how to sew. And then for inside of the sunflower sachet, we're going to be using some carnelian crystals. And these promote healing in the body and the mind, as well as confidence and creativity. We're also going to be using some fenugreek, I think that's how it's pronounced, and that promotes prosperity, luck, fertility, protection, happiness, healing, success, and grounding. Then we're also going to be putting in some rose petals, which promote love, female intuition, beauty, confidence, truth, and passion. Then I'm also going to be putting in some frankincense, and this promotes purification and healing. Then I'll also be placing in some eggshells, and this is just purely for protection. And then I'll also be putting in some essential oil, and I chose sandalwood for this. And like I said earlier, this is for clearing the mind, and it promotes calm and relieves anxiety and tension. And anytime that I use an essential oil within a sachet, I always like putting it on something. So I normally cut out a little piece of felt, and then I'll stick it in the sachet. That way it helps absorb it into the felt instead of the sachet itself. So I'm going to go ahead, I'll probably just use the felt for this one. I'm going to go ahead and cut out 2 circles. So I didn't have the same color fabric, so that's why I'm using 2 different browns. But you'll need to cut out 2 circles and then several petals to go around the circle. So let me go ahead and do that. This is what it looks like all cut out. Now I haven't adhered it yet because we want to place our herbs and our crystal inside of here before we do that. But first, let's go ahead and adhere our petals to the first circle here. Okay, now that we have the petals adhered to the bottom circle, now we can fill the center here with our herbs. And I'll go ahead and put some of this essential oil on this small piece of felt here. So this is what I was talking about when I meant to put the essential oil on a piece of felt. So then you can just put it in the center there. And now I'll add the other ingredients. Lughnasadh represents the harvest. We're gonna write a little note to ourselves stating why we are proud of ourselves and what we were able to reap from what we sowed in the spring. I went ahead and folded up the piece of paper into a little square here. So we're just gonna set that in the middle, and then now we'll be able to glue the top onto our sunflower. So I'm just going to glue around the edges here. We don't want any glue in the middle because then our herbs and paper will get stuck to that. And then we're just going to set it down there. And this is how our sunflower sachet turned out. I think it is so cute. And if you wanted to, you could write a word on the outside here. You could actually write the word Lughnasadh or Lammas, or even put a sigil on here. But this is going to be great to sit on your altar or somewhere when you first wake up, so you can see it and be proud of yourself for how far you've come this year. I hope you all enjoyed this video and maybe got some inspiration for some crafts you can do to celebrate the Sabbath. But thank you all so much for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, friends. Bye.